Elk Point RCMP is investigating an alleged armed robbery. Yesterday afternoon, two men entered a gas station in Lindbergh with what a witness believed to be a firearm and demanded money. The two suspects were able to get away with an undisclosed amount of cash. The driver of the suspect vehicle is said to be around 5'8", 5'10", wearing a black hoodie with light-colored sleeves and blue jeans. The second suspect is around the same height, wearing a purple hoodie, purple sweatpants, and brown shoes. The suspect vehicle is described as a gray Chevrolet Cruze, 2015 or newer, with dark tinted windows. The vehicle was spotted in the Vermilion area but drove off at a high speed, and a pursuit was called off due to public safety. If you have any information, you are asked to call the Elk Point RCMP or Crime Stoppers. And a new grant to promote healthy living and butt out smoking in the border city sparked lively debate at City Hall Monday. The argument in question wasn't around the dangers of tobacco, but the legal drag of taxing out of their jurisdiction. Adam McVicker has more.
What started as a nationally recognized anti-smoking initiative is now causing a quarrel between Lloydminster City Council. As a bylaw passed by the previous City Council in May, the Lloydminster Tobacco Reduction Grant introduced a new charge incorporated on business licenses for retailers that sell tobacco products. In turn, the funds collected by the new fee would be given to eligible community groups that promote healthier lifestyles. Now, two city councillors are questioning the legality of how those fees are gathered.
What the law is one part of it. The other part is, do we have the right to do it? Should we be doing it? Should we be taxing other things? Are we unfairly taxing the little guy over the big guy? You know, those are all kinds of things that have never been really answered in the past.
Legal reviews have been done on the bylaw, saying the city is in the clear.
From everything I've been able to glean from administration and the information they provided, we have a bylaw that would stand up to a legal challenge.
Just under $25,000 has been collected thus far from the fee, which taxes $750 for regular tobacco and an additional $350 for flavored tobacco.
Every retailer paid the same price, so there's no differentiation. It doesn't matter what size of business you operate in the city. If you want to sell tobacco products, there was a levy to your business license.
But Councillor Jonathan Torreson has reservations about the impact on smaller business.
I think that the city can do lots of things in terms of promoting healthy living and promoting active lifestyles and good choices. I don't think that necessarily has to be done on the backs of small businesses.
Discussion also touched on whether the city has the right to tax things in the provincial and federal jurisdictions.
It's not a question of smoking or not. I don't smoke, but it's a question of should we be in the business of taxing cigarettes? Should we be in the business of taxing liquor? And on the story goes.
When it was all said and done, City Council passed the tobacco reduction grant policy as presented, but also directed administration to review the licensing fees around tobacco.
And that was a decision the previous councils made. We want to make sure that we are doing it right from our council's perspective, and we've got the legal opinion through administration that the bylaw is a valid bylaw.
Adam McVicker, Newcap News.
Lakeland College is giving their hairstyling program a makeover, reshaping the course from part-time to full-time. The new lab is almost complete and will be ready for fall enrollment. Chantel Germo has more.
For the past 5 years, Lakeland College has offered a part-time hairstyling program, which included 700 hours of training and lab time based at Lloyd Comprehensive High School.
Because it was such a long process to get from the beginning to the end, they kind of fell off, and we didn't see a really big success rate from beginning to end.
With the lack of students finishing the part-time program, the industry encouraged Lakeland to make the change. Students will now complete 1,400 hours of training.
Students will be here 10 months of the year, 5 days a week, 7 hours a day, and that's the requirement from Apprenticeship and Industry Training of Alberta for any program of this type. So it's a lot of time so they can practice, learn, and be ready to go out into industry.
This fact that students can stay here and have what Lakeland has to offer, which wouldn't necessarily get in a city or in a private school. Here they can get access to tutors, they get a medical plan, they can get the college life, they get free parking.
There is also a new lab with 24 stations that provides a student-managed opportunity of a salon for the public.
In the salon here, they will manage the front desk, they'll check clients in, check clients out, they'll manage their own inventory, so we want them to have a well-rounded experience on how the business is going to look.
The college is now one of 2 public post-secondary institutions offering the full-time program, as hairstyling is usually offered only at private institutions. Chantel Germo, Newcap News.
Video lottery terminals, or VLTs, were first introduced in Canada back in the early 90s when the economy was booming and there was money to spend. In this week's edition of Retrospect, Gina Martin shows us how gambling has evolved since then and how technology has changed the face of addiction.
This Lloydminster man never thought driving home would be a challenge. But mapping out a new route home is just one of the things Al does each day to avoid VLTs. He's an addict.
With this, it was, I say I've only lived here a year and a half, and I've already gone through all those stages that it took me 20 years to go through on alcohol. I've done it in a year and a half, so that says something right there.
It usually starts out with a quarter, then a loonie, and before they know it, it's a gambling addiction. For Al, it took a major loss to realize he had a problem.
And I had $500 in my pocket to buy a new motor for my truck the next morning. I was actually supposed to go do that afternoon. And I left here and I made it as far as our wayside pub over here, and I said, I'll throw $20 in the machine. I afford $20, threw $20 in there. 2 hours later, I left out of there. Not a dime.
But the damage doesn't end with financial losses.
It was a significant other, and it's hard on them. I'm not saying it's better, but at least when the old man or the old lady's out drinking and they come home, you see what they did with all that money. You know, they're hammered.
Stats tell us that about 5% of the population is actually addicted.
For addicts like Al, it doesn't matter what happens in the March 11th vote. He still has to deal with the problem one day at a time, every day of his life.
In 2017, the Thorpe Recovery Center finds many people with a gambling problem also have another underlying addiction.
Often alcohol, often drugs. We certainly see people come in. Gambling is a very high impulse activity.
Gambling is also a process addiction, which is on the rise in Canada.
So things like sex addiction, eating disorders, addiction to money. Some of those non-substance related addictions are really becoming very common now.
If you would like to learn more about process and other addictions and treatments available, visit the Thorpe Recovery Center's website. That's all for Retrospect this week. I'm Gina Martin.
One person is dead following a 2-vehicle head-on collision north of Bonnyville on Highway 660 this morning. Police say a pickup truck traveling westbound tried to pass a vehicle and a snowplow when it struck an oncoming pickup truck traveling eastbound. The driver of the eastbound truck suffered serious but non-life-threatening injuries and was taken to hospital. The driver of the westbound truck was pronounced dead at the scene. Poor visibility and weather are considered the contributing factors for the crash. Bonnyville RCMP are asking motorists to avoid any unnecessary travel. Well, hockey is Canada's national pastime, and we're lucky in the border city to have a number of different teams to watch, from minor hockey to junior, but all those players had to start somewhere. As Lance Phillips explains, Lloydminster's lucky to have a special couple who've implemented a program designed to give youngsters their first encounter with the sport.
Behind every successful sports program is a team of dedicated people working tirelessly to give their participants the best possible experience. In the case of Lloydminster Minor Hockey's Intro to Hockey program, that team is Chris Eskelson and his wife Stacy, 2 people who have put in hundreds of hours in order to give children an opportunity to flourish on the ice.
I absolutely love it. This is my 3rd year with Intro, and I've done about 8 years of pond hockey, and this is our way for our family to kind of give back. And it's so awesome to watch them the first time they step on the ice. None of them can really stand, but it was so worth it at the end to watch them skate underneath the fog and have the geysers go off with the video, and they're all going to receive medals. And this is a memory that I hope that will last a lifetime for them.
The success of any organization is fully dependent on the people doing the work. For Chris and Stacy, Intro to Hockey is a labor of love, hence the reason the program continues to grow year after year.
once our kids started getting of age to play hockey, there was nothing like this in Lloyd. So my husband Chris decided to take over the intro program and make it what it is today, and it's been awesome. They love it.
It's a great way to start off the weekend. It's been every Saturday morning at 8 o'clock in the morning till, I guess we go till 11:15, 4 groups in a row. So it's at 64 little ones this year, so it's awesome. It's so great.
Every year we've doubled in numbers. This year we've had 4 groups as compared to 2 the previous years and 3 last year. So yeah, every year gets bigger and better, and somehow we still seem to manage.
Saturday was Intro to Hockey's last day of the season. Next year, the kids will apply their newfound talents at the next level, and maybe one day they'll apply those same skills in the pros, skills they were taught by 2 hardworking people in Lloydminster.
That's such an awesome feeling. It'd be great one day to see someone actually make a career out of it, or just, even see them later on in life and know that I was kind of part of why they got to where they were, and that's a good feeling.
Lance Phillips, Newcap Sports, Lloydminster.